This is me and Wayne, or should I say Celebok? The proper
Either's
term.
fine.
And we both have something in common. We are both type 9 on the Enneagram and in Instinctual Variants, SPSX. So I thought it would be fun to see a female and a male SPSX and type 9. And I don't know, whatever we want to talk about.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was going to say how SPSX, because we were saying is how it comes across as SJ-like, because we tend to get stuff done. So my theory is that people were thinking you're ISTJ because you're SPSX, and it comes across as very like J-like or something.
Yeah. I was actually wondering that, because like when I first saw one of the descriptions of self-preservation, I was like, this sounds really SJ like. I was like, am I really SP? And then I looked at SX and SL. I was like, okay, yeah, I'm self-preservation.
Yeah, it's definitely a difference, because I actually had my friend argue me about it, because I took on the test and it said like SXSO or something, and they're like, there's no way that you're that. There's no way. And I was like, oh, but I like people. They're like, yeah, but do you have this like crazy drive to connect with people in an intimate way? I was like, well, yeah, but when you say it like that, not like that. So, they read a description that said we're like the princess and the pea kind of thing. Like if there's a pea under a mattress, we would notice it. And I was like, yes, I'm an SPSX. So.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, I haven't really studied the instinctual variants that much, because like when I first heard someone's description of them, I was like, oh yeah, I'm definitely self-preservation, and then I kind of moved on from there. I didn't even really look at, and then more recently I did look at SX and SO to figure out like if I'm really SX second or SO second. I was like, okay, I definitely relate more to SO blind spot than SX blind spot.
Gosh, yeah, me too. Because I would be in a forum or something, and people would be like, "Oh, that thread, it's blowing up," and I'm like, "What do you mean? It's fine. Everybody looks happy." And they're like, "How could you not see that? How could you not see the undertone?" I'm like, "Oh gosh, I am SO retarded, aren't I?" I don't really see what's going on in the whole group. Like it's almost like the big picture thing, where I notice how individuals feel, but not as much like they say SO is like you walk into a room and the social hierarchy, like you can tell like that's kind of the leader, that's the way. I'm like, I'm just like, I go in a room and I'm like, it's cold in here, I wish I would have brought a jacket.
Yes, that's how I am. I'm just like focused on like what I'm getting out of the moment, which I always thought was like more extroverted sensing type of thing. But like it's interesting to hear the point of view of an INFJ self-preservation, because it sounds a bit contradictory to me, like FE versus SP.
It
So
is. Yeah, my friend and I were talking about that too. He's like, you're kind of like a hybrid, because SPSX is mostly an NT kind of thing. Because my friend who's INTJ, who's SPSX, he has all these projects, these tech projects, he gets them done. And I was like, well, that would explain why I do art and why I'm in tech, and I love both. Like, because it really floored me when I found out I was INFJ, and I was just like, wait, but I'm in technology, and this is talking about googly painting and writer and therapist, and I'm like, oh my god, am I in the wrong field? I had like a mental crisis over it for a while, but then I was like, yeah, I like both, so I'm allowed, right, to like both. So,
yeah. But yeah, what were you saying before about the about being SJ like? So like one of the things about SP that I don't relate to is like being focused on paying the bills and taking care of your health. I mean, that's all stuff that's been like kind of ingrained in me by my SJ mom, my ESFJ mom. So that's kind of the only place I get that from, but it's not something that comes naturally to me. I've been known for being late on paying my bills and not being like, at this moment, I literally do not have a clue how much is in my checking account. I have a rough idea, but like I would not be able to tell you like, what's, I don't even know what my monthly budget is.
not me either.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, all the ISTJs are probably cringing if they're any watching this right now, but but yeah, taking care of myself in general, I see it as more like just making sure like I'm enjoying the moment, making sure that I can enjoy tomorrow, and beyond that, I'm like, okay, we'll just see how it goes, and I'll just deal with life as it comes. But I still see it as like I'm definitely more self-preservation than any of the other instincts,
Mm.
just because I'm focused on my needs as I define them.
Have you ever heard or they claim that a lot of people like SPSXs, but we don't like everybody else. So, when I heard that, I was like, yeah, I could kind of see it. 'Cause people remember my name. They're like, oh, hey, Anne. I'm like, who the hell are you? And then I feel bad. I'm thinking, God, I don't remember them. And at least I have a face. I'm like, oh, yeah, okay. It was nice to meet you.
Yeah, I mean, it's not something I really thought about much, but I would definitely say it's probably true of me.
Yeah, I was like, okay. And then somebody else who was good with the Enneagram had told me, let's see, like SPSXs, say if we go to a party, we'll grab a drink and we'll immediately go to like a darkened corner to hang out. And people will come to us. Like inevitably, people just are drawn to us. We seem like that, I guess, quiet, confident, mysterious type of vibe. So
Yeah. I thought it was just I've always thought it was just me being an introvert.
me too.
And like but that's well, it's been years since I've even been to a party, but yeah, that's totally it. Like it's just hard to go unnoticed. And like
Yes.
sometimes I'll be actually interested in just listening to a conversation, but then they'll turn to me and go, "So Wayne, what do you think?" And like, "Oh, I'm actually here."
I was kind of zoning out. I'm like, oh wait, where did I lose it? We're coming back. That's funny. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean about trying to go unnoticed. It does seem like it's like I'm like, maybe it's, I don't know if it is a 9 thing either, but or SPSX, but I've noticed that it's like, do I have like some kind of beam around me? I used to think there's something wrong with me. I'm like, is something stuck to my shoe? Is that why people are looking at me, or in particular, or something? They also say, I do know a couple of little quips things about SPSX. They also say, who told me this? I can't remember. I think. Just went out of my head. Darn it. Well, whatever. It'll come back if it's important.
Well, I actually wonder if that's not as much an aspect of being SPSX, but not being SO,
Oh,
or like other people having SO as like their first or second instinct, and so they're the ones who are gonna be aware that, oh, there's this person who's not talking to anyone. Oh, I should like try to see if they're comfortable, or I want to get to know this person. That's more of like like an SO or whatever type they are, if they're like a FE dominant or whatever.
yeah. Yeah. And when they said the thing about the party, I haven't been to party in years too. Oh, that was what I was going to say. No, I remember it because they said SPSXs don't leave the house very much. I was like, hey, I do. And I forget who it was. Maybe it was Ellen, I think. And he said, other than going shopping, that things you have to do. And I'm like, well, or like hobbies that you have, do you leave the house? And I'm like, no, probably not really. Which cracked me up when people in this socionics forum were like, are you sure you're not whatever the ENFJ equivalent was? And I was like, I'm sure. Trust me, I'm sure. So,
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much true. I mean, so I actually think about going out a lot more than I actually do.
yes, me too. Or I see events and they actually have it lined up. I'm like, look, I could go here on Saturday at Kame's J too, because I'm like, I could go here on Saturday at 4 o'clock, and then if that doesn't work out, I could go there. And then the day comes and I'm just like, I don't really want to do it. It's a cool idea, but it's probably gonna be crowded and there's people and it's gonna be hot and just nah.
Yeah. Like, well, yeah, and this past week, that's last weekend, Memorial Day weekend, that was actually my first time like going out on a road trip since like last 4th of July last year, so like 10 months or whatever. And like even that day, I was like sitting at home and like thinking, I'm tired. Do I really want to do this thing that I've been thinking about doing? And like yeah, I don't know. And then finally I decided, okay, I'll just go. And I just called and made a motel reservation, and I just got in my car and packed a few things and left. And I was like, oh yeah, it was a fun trip. But yeah, it's when I think about my life, I think, yeah, I do those kinds of things, but they're so few and far between. Like on a typical day, I'm just more like this. I'm just relaxing at home and wasting the day. Well, I don't mean this, but
well, no, I know what you mean. Do you ever think like yeah, well, I do that too, but I don't know. I don't know if this is a J thing or SPSX or whatever. But I'll be like, even if I'm watching a TV show, I'm like, yeah, but I have so many projects I need to do and that I want to do. I have a hard time relaxing sometimes because I'm like thinking, oh, in the back of my head, all these things I could be doing. You could be more productive. You could be more productive. So I don't know if that's anything.
Well,
but.
Yeah, I used to kind of do that before I figured I was an ISTP. And I kind of
nice.
like figuring out as an ISTP kind of gave me more freedom to be myself and to like, yeah, just to enjoy like those moments where I'm just like doing whatever I feel like doing, and like, oh yeah, these things can wait. And like once I get to a point where like I absolutely realize, oh, this stuff is piling up. I better get to this pile of this to-do list, and then I'll start knocking things off. But then otherwise, like, if I'm just, the Saturday rolls around, I had nothing planned, I just enjoy the fact that I had nothing planned. But yeah, when I was younger, yeah, it was kind of more like, all these SJs in my head kind of saying you have to be productive, you have all this stuff you need to do. But
that's true. I was raised by ISFJ, so we're both raised by SJ.
Yeah.
So I might have that going the tape in my head too. But.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, another SPSX thing. I know more than I thought. Yay.
Okay.
Somebody else said that we tend to teach people, and I was like, well, I'm kind of more of a reluctant teacher just because we learn things for SP value, for self-preservation. So I was like, well, if I'm not passing it on, what's the point? So I don't know if that's FE or if you do the same thing or not, but
I think for you, it might be more of an FE thing, like the desire to pass on your knowledge to others. I've also heard that it's kind of part of maybe Enneagram 9 to want
true.
Yeah, to kind of spread your peace to everyone else or whatever, and like teach others how you achieved it or whatever. Yeah, I'm not so much like that. Like I don't really I don't really care if others know the same stuff that I know. It's like, I mean, I'll make videos and I'll make Facebook posts just for whoever is interested, and like kind of hoping that others will catch on. But like I won't like try to approach people and pass on my knowledge, or suggest like, oh, hey, you should try this, unless they ask.
Yeah, I don't do that either, and I don't like when other people are pushy about that kind of stuff, so I don't either. But like, yeah, if people ask about, well, I guess the easiest example is rural. Like, I don't really, unless it comes up, I don't see a reason, or like politics or any of those heavy topics. Anyway, I guess maybe that's a 9 thing. I'm like, I don't want to get in conflict.
Probably. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of any in their 9 things. I don't think we have to stick to the topic.
Yeah. But I think in my case, it's more like the things that I learn for my, like, things that work for me, I realize are probably not going to work for other people, just because these are just things that I thought of for myself and they work for my own lifestyle. And I know that not everyone is in the same lifestyle that I'm in. Like, not everyone lives alone like I do. Not everyone is single. A lot of people have kids. Like, I know you have a kid, so I know. And then not everyone goes to church. Not everyone has a flexible daytime job. So it's like, I know there are just too many factors that are going to, kind of throw things off for other people if they try to do the same things that I do. So
yeah, and I do that too. oh sorry, well, with like Facebook posts and blog posts and videos too, I just make whatever's in my head and I just put it out there just for the heck of it, or like you said, for fun. I'm really surprised that it resonates with so many people. I'm actually surprised because people are like, oh wow, I've been thinking about it too, or oh wow, that really helps me. I'm like, well, that's awesome, but weird. I didn't really, because I don't assume anybody thinks the same way I do or same kind of thing like you do. I don't assume that they have the same kind of mindset that I do or anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sort of unassuming, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, the teaching, yeah. But again, it sounds like, yeah, the teaching others what you've learned sounds more like an SJ thing, which may be why SPSX is kind of known for teaching others your techniques, because SJs do that.
True. And my friend who's an INTJ, SPSX, does teach a lot of people like technology stuff, and that's like his passion, but that's his passion. So
yeah.
And that's, yeah, with the SPSX probably is more, I don't know, driven in that way. Or like you said, there's a lot of SJs, so many times the least, I don't know how they would know this really, I don't know statistically if it's that popular enough, that we are the least amount of variants. So we're like the most rare variant, or one of the most rare variants.
Oh, really?
Well, and they said SPSO is the most common one. So I guess most SPSO. So I found that kind of interesting.
I didn't know that.
I was like, that would make sense, but I think I'm a weirdo. But I mean, our INFJ part or any type, well, ISTPs are more rare than ENFPs and ESFPs. Then you guys are really not super common in the population either, statistically.
Yeah, I guess.
It's easy for me, you know, me and INTJs to pull the rare card, but you guys have it too, actually.
Yeah, but yeah, it makes me wonder, like, how rare are ISTP 9 SPSXs?
Yeah, I wonder about like when you're combining all the systems and stuff. I know some people are purists, but I think combining it brings like a lot of depth to why we are the way we are and stuff.
Mm.
I'm trying to think if I had anything else I could think of. Oh yeah. Have you ever noticed, or do you have where like if you're oh, I have a curiosity. Like when you first wake up, do you have to eat like within an hour or two?
I notice. I'll notice I'm usually hungry, but if something distracts me, then it'll be like in the back of my mind, like, oh yeah, I need to eat, but I'll still get easily distracted. And then, maybe like an hour later, I'll be like, why am I so hungry? I'm like, oh wow, it's been an hour already. Like, oh, I meant to eat like an hour ago. So it's it's one of those things where it's like, it'll be like, I know I need to do it, and it'll be on my mind, but I might not actually do it for a while.
I say an hour because I've known and SOS, my son's father, back in the day when we lived together, of course, he could go like 6 or 7 hours, and I'm like, what? And then I go, he goes, I think I'm hungry. Or he'd start acting loopy, like blood sugar is off, and I go, are you okay? Like, when did you last eat? He's like, yesterday. I'm like, what the hell? I was like, what? To me, that's insane. Like, I would be losing my marbles. So I was like, I wonder if that's a maybe SP dominant thing more so than SPSX. But I've noticed that's kind of a trend with the different people that I've been around, that they were always different variants than me. So they could wait for 6, 7, 8 hours before eating. I can't do that. 5, maybe 6 hours, I've noticed. But
yeah. I mean, for me, it only happens if I get really distracted by something.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Well, that's why I was
I'll lose
curious.
track. Yeah.
Yeah, since you're a P, like, does it override it or something?
Yeah. But yeah, usually what happens, I'll get distracted, and at some point I'll realize, oh my gosh, I'm really hungry. And I'll look at the time and go, oh, that's why.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense.